Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Going For It Sim Studio. I have been so busy grinding, trying to learn this game as quickly as possible, that I've just realized I had not released an update on the actual progress of my challenge in a little while. So what we're gonna talk about is how the little changes and the most difficult stretch of this challenge is actually gonna probably end up being the best stretch of this challenge. Let's get right into that. All right, so since I started this challenge back in February, the whole idea was, can I learn golf inside in 1 year and break 80 outside? And the year is flying by, and I knew that would happen. A year really isn't that much time, and a lot has happened, right? What I've really tried to do is I want to document this and show every beginner mistake that almost all of you would make if you're a beginner and you're following me trying to learn golf yourself. I didn't want to do anything special. I purposefully didn't jump straight into getting lessons with the best coach in the world. I didn't try to sandbag this process in any sort of way. So at the beginning, it was all arm swing. It was all, can you just have the club connect with the ball? And then as my swing came around, then injuries started popping up because you're only using your upper body and your arms to swing, and that pulls muscles in your back. From there, I eventually learned how to rotate a little bit, get a one-piece takeaway, and then we moved into getting the clubs sorted, getting my equipment where they need to be as my swing speed began to come around. I still have not focused on power and distance. I don't think that's ever gonna be a focus for me. What I really wanna focus on are the mechanics of my swing so that when I do get outside, I give myself the absolute best chance at breaking 80. And that is what this last 6 weeks have boiled down to. This here has been my view for 6 weeks. I have not played on a simulated hole in over 6 weeks because I got to the point where I was shooting well. I mean, I put it up on Instagram, right? I had a 65 at Marco Simone. I had a 67 at Schaumburg. Those are really, really good sim scores. That's the type of score I need to see consistently. However, I was playing golf swing. I was not actually playing golf. And as I work with Alex Moore, he is putting me on a very, very good path to moving forward and progressing. And one thing that I was doing that was blatantly obvious, causing a lot of inconsistencies for me, and this is the small little touch that put me on the driving range for 6 weeks, was on my takeaway and my backswing, I was rolling my wrists open, causing an open club face, and at the top of the backswing, you couldn't see a single groove on that club face, making it so that I had to time my impact instead of just doing it based on form and function. And what that did is caused a lot of inconsistencies in my ball striking, and it also made it incredibly difficult for me to get room to get an in-to-out path. In fact, I don't think I had ever hit a draw until I finally figured out how to do the proper takeaway in club position with my wrists in flexion as I'm coming through the ball. I was also scooping a lot, which is the exact same thing. You see it all the time on YouTube and Instagram. Oh, you gotta hit the ball on the top, like you're driving a nail into it. So much easier said than done. Boy, is that so much easier said than done. And I've got all the technology you need for that. I've got the camera so that I can watch myself do it. I've got a lot of really good help, and it's hard. So what we did when we started working on this, I realized just how important a simulator is for a golfer, whether you're new, just playing for fun, or you're an avid golfer trying to improve. Because I'll tell you what, the frustration, the pain, and the time that it took me to properly learn that move, that change in my swing, I was out here for hours. And in fact, the mistake I made was I turned off the auto continue. I made it 1 second so that I could just go, go, go. Because I figured if I could just do really quick repetition, that I would eventually get it, and I didn't. I eventually hurt myself. My rhomboid in my upper left shoulder was terrible. I did something fierce to it, and a lot of it's tied to a broken neck injury that I had racing bikes. But it made it tough. I got to the point where it would actually wrap around and almost feel like I even pulled a pec. And I couldn't swing for about a week and a half, 2 weeks almost. I just took a little bit of time off, tried to get away from learning it, and the repetition, bad practice, causing bad results. That's why I always try to talk about efficient practice, and sometimes that takes getting good eyeballs on you to make that work out. It was hard, and if I had to do this on course, I don't know how you guys do it. The only thing I can think about is when I hear people talk about progress on the course taking years and years and years and years, to me it's like, well, yeah, because I just tried to make a change that took me almost 4 weeks, that if I was doing this outside, I probably would have given up and gone back to the way I was swinging before because I was still getting the ball down, even though it was not nearly what it needed to be and I was not set up for future changes. But the quick response is I want to get back to playing golf. For a long time during this 6 week period, I couldn't hit my driver, my 3-wood, or my hybrid because something I was doing in my swing, I just couldn't get the ball I couldn't get the club to make contact, right? And it's so frustrating, and I kept wanting to go back, but I didn't. I know that for this challenge, I need to give it everything I absolutely can. So I just pushed through and just kept practicing, sending videos to Alex, having him say, this is what you're not doing yet. Keep practicing on this. We need to move on this. We talked about centers of gravity. We talked about touch points. We talked about grip all over again and pressure points and being able to truly understand your grip. And so throughout that, just really made me understand how special having a simulator is as a golfing athlete. You don't need something like this. If you just have a net, you hit into it and you're looking at a computer screen, that's all you need. And I know that now from experience because during that 6 week period, my projector died and I had to set it in for warranty. BenQ took really good care of me. I cannot say enough about their customer service. Very impressed. It was about a week and a half turnaround from ship to arrival, and I am back in business here. But during that week and a half, I was just using the screen as my net, and I was looking at my touchscreen monitor over here to get my results. So what did I learn throughout that part of the process? The little things matter. The little things really, 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 really matter. Jeff Ritter told me, and he learned it from someone, that an acorn eventually becomes a giant oak tree. And that really resonated with me. Why? Because in golf, there is a lot to think about. You have your swing thoughts. The smallest changes matter. We're talking degrees, 1/2, 2 degrees of difference. I see it all the time with the data that I get out of the launch monitor. I see the data. The smallest degree in difference makes the largest difference on the course. And to get it exactly right is something that you can do on a simulator. What makes the difference between a pro and an amateur? A pro works long enough and hard enough at something that they can't get it wrong. An amateur does it till they can get it right once and then they move on. Now, we're not all trying to be professionals. We're not all trying to be on the tour, but to be able to practice and keep working on what you're doing at a game where practice is generally at a golf course, where you have to drive to it, you have to make time for it. And sometimes your schedule doesn't allow for that. Here in a simulator, you get to progress much, much quicker. And that's kind of the overall lesson when I go back to what I was talking about how nice it is to have a simulator. The time that it must take people to learn golf over those years and years and years, I get it. I totally understand why it takes them that long to learn golf, while swing changes are so hard to swallow, why most folks don't want to go to a coach, because they know that changes are going to affect their swing and it's going to be difficult for them to go out and play golf. Even if that means taking half a season off to be able to learn and play better the second half of that season. Golf is hard. It is an incredibly hard game, and I learned that more and more and more and more. And as the end of this challenge starts peeking in here, I definitely am getting nervous. I get a little clammy. I want to do it. I want to do it really bad. What most folks don't know about me is that I put a lot of work in. I get obsessive. I did the same thing with bike racing. and I'm doing the same thing here, I get obsessed and I will put the work in that needs to be done. I know when to call it quits. Sometimes I push it a little far like I did, and I did hurt that back muscle again out of just stupidity and just frustration. But now I know better. I've got a much better stretching routine that I now have to get that little bit of flexibility. I'm not coming out here and just whacking at the ball. So what happens next? What happens next is that I perfect my takeaway, my backswing up through P4 and then down through impact. And then I work on the takeaway to make sure that all three of my points are going to be even. I'm very technical now with the swing, and unfortunately, I think I know more about the swing than I can actually do, and sometimes that hurts me. But I really enjoy the technical aspect of it, and that's another thing that a simulator can provide. So I'm gonna go back out here soon. I feel like I can almost go and play a couple more rounds. We'll see how my scores progress. We'll see if the consistency is a little better. I feel like my ball flight's better, my spin's better. I'm getting everything a lot closer to where it needs to be so that I can go outside and attempt to break 80. I will update again here in a few weeks once I get back out and get a couple rounds through. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Just come with me on this journey. It's gonna be wild. We're getting close. We're gonna soon figure out what golf course I'm gonna go attempt to break 80. I've got one idea of a course that I think would be phenomenal to do it at, but it is gonna take an army to make happen. But there's no harm in asking. Every question that you don't ask is always a no. We'll see you next time.